Picture this. A Spartan warrior steps onto the battlefield, bronze helmet gleaming, red cloak flowing, spear and shield in hand. Across from him stands a Roman Legionary, armored in segmented iron, Gladius at his side, part of the most disciplined fighting machine the ancient world ever created. The crowd goes silent. Who wins? This is one of the oldest debates in military history. Two of the ancient world's most legendary warriors, one trained from childhood to be the perfect soldier, the other drilled into an unstoppable war machine through brutal discipline and tactical genius. But most of what people believe about this matchup? Pure fantasy. Today, we're settling it the right way. No 300 movie choreography, no Total War game mechanics, just real history, real weapons, real tactics. And the answer? It's going to surprise you. Welcome to Medieval Archive, where we dig past the myths and get to the real history. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We upload new videos every week. And if you enjoyed this one, a like goes a long way in helping the channel grow. Now, let's get into it. Who were these warriors really? Let's start with the question most people get wrong. Who exactly are we comparing? When you say Spartan warrior, which era? A hoplite from Thermopylae in 480 BC? The Peloponnesian War? These are different warriors with evolving tactics and equipment. Same with the Roman Legionary. A Republican legionary from 200 BC looks nothing like an imperial legionary from 100 AD. We're talking about 3 centuries of evolution. So here's what we're doing. We compare the best versions of each. A classical era Spartan hoplite around 450 BC during the height of Spartan power, armed with Dory spear, Xephos sword, and Aspis shield, against a mid-imperial Roman legionary around 100 AD, representing Rome at its military peak, equipped with Gladius, pilum, scutum, and lorica segmentata armor. Now we can talk. The armor question. Here's where internet arguments usually start and where most people reveal they've never studied ancient warfare. The Spartan hoplite armor, bronze cuirass, bronze greaves, Corinthian helmet. Total weight around 20 to 25 kilograms, including the shield. Spartan armor was designed for phalanx warfare, heavy frontal protection. The bronze cuirass stopped slashing attacks. The helmet provided excellent head protection, but severely limited vision and hearing. The shield, the Aspis, was the real key. Nearly a meter wide, wood and bronze, weighing around 7 kilograms. In phalanx formation, shields overlapped, creating a bronze wall. Individually, cumbersome. Your left side was protected. Your right side depended on your neighbor's shield. The Roman Legionary wore lorica segmentata, those iconic overlapping iron plates, an engineering masterpiece, lighter than you'd think, around 9 to 10 kilograms, offering superior protection with better mobility than solid bronze. The iron helmet had cheek guards and neck protection, far better designed for battlefield awareness than the Spartan helmet. The scutum shield, rectangular, curved, massive, nearly 1.2 meters tall, wood and leather with an iron boss. It weighed about 10 kilograms, but here's the key. It was designed for individual combat as much as formation fighting. A Roman could use his shield offensively, to bash, to block, to create openings. In pure protection, roughly even. The Spartan had heavier bronze. The Roman had more sophisticated iron construction. But Roman armor was better designed for prolonged combat and individual fighting. The weapons debate. Here's something that will shock most people. The Spartan's primary weapon wasn't his sword. The Xephos, that short sword everyone associates with Spartans, backup weapon. The real weapon was the Dory, a 2 to 3 meter spear with an iron tip and bronze butt spike. In phalanx formation, this spear was devastating. A wall of shields with spear tips protruding, stabbing forward in unison. The enemy faced a hedge of iron before reaching Spartan lines. The Xephos only came out when the spear broke or formation collapsed. It was short, around 50 to 60 centimeters, designed for stabbing in the crush of battle where there's no room to swing. The Roman Legionary carried 2 pila, javelins, each around 2 meters long with a long iron shank designed to bend on impact. When a pilum hit a shield, the iron would bend, making the shield unusable and forcing the enemy to drop it. If it hit armor or flesh, devastating. After throwing both pila, the Roman drew his Gladius, around 60 to 70 centimeters long, designed for rapid, efficient killing. In close combat, a Roman was trained to punch with his shield and stab with his sword, not slash, stab. Quick thrusts to the abdomen, neck, or groin. The Spartan's spear gave range and formation. The Roman's pilum negated that before contact, and his Gladius made him deadly up close. Weapon advantage? Rome. Training and fighting philosophy. This is where it gets fascinating, because both warriors were trained in ways that defined their entire existence. The Spartan Agoge is legendary. Boys taken at age 7, 13 years of brutal training, starvation to teach resourcefulness, beatings to build pain tolerance, constant combat drills. The whole society existed to produce warriors who knew nothing but war. The Spartan code emphasized one thing: never retreat, never surrender. To return without your shield meant you ran, the ultimate shame. Spartans fought as a phalanx, where individual heroism meant nothing and formation discipline meant everything. The Romans' training was different but equally brutal. Months of intensive preparation, marching with full pack, 30 kilometers daily, weapons drills against a wooden post 6 hours a day, perfecting the shield punch and sword thrust. Romans didn't just fight, they built roads, camps, siege engines. But here's the key difference. Romans were trained for tactical flexibility. The legion fought in cohorts, smaller units that could maneuver independently. A Roman could fight in formation, but also adapt when it broke. He could fight alone, in pairs, in small groups. The Spartan was trained for one thing: the phalanx. Outside that formation, his effectiveness dropped dramatically. Discipline? Both legendary. But the Roman system produced a more versatile warrior. The fight itself. Different scenarios. The moment you've been waiting for. Let's run the scenarios. Scenario 1. Phalanx versus Legion in open battle. A Spartan phalanx, shields locked, spears forward, versus a Roman cohort. The phalanx looks unstoppable. That wall of bronze advancing in lockstep is terrifying. But here's what happens. Before the lines meet, Romans throw their pilla. Hundreds of javelins arc through the air. Shields are pierced. Men in the front ranks go down. The phalanx requires every man in position. Gaps appear. When lines clash, Romans don't push through. They work the edges. The legion's cohorts probe for weak points, encircle exposed flanks. The phalanx is powerful if you attack head-on. Romans don't. Historical evidence? Every major battle between Greek phalanxes and Roman legions ended the same way. Cynocephaly, 197 BC. Pydna, 168 BC. The phalanx broke. The legion won. Not because Spartans weren't brave, but because Roman military system was more advanced, more flexible, and designed to counter exactly the warfare Spartans excelled at. Scenario 2. One-on-one, open ground. The Spartan has his spear. The Roman has thrown his pilla. The Spartan has reach, but the Roman uses his shield to deflect the spear, closes distance, gets inside the spear's range. Once close, the Gladius becomes deadly. The Spartan drops his spear, draws his Xephos, but now he's fighting Rome's fight. Close, brutal, shield and stab. The Roman has drilled this thousands of times. Edge to Rome, but not certain. Scenario 3. Broken formation, chaotic melee. The Romans' training shows. A Spartan outside the Phalanx is still dangerous, but his combat philosophy is built around collective fighting. The Roman is trained to improvise, to fight individually, to adapt to chaos. Advantage, Rome. The honest answer? In most realistic scenarios, the Roman Legionnaire wins. Not because the Spartan wasn't elite, he was, but because the Roman military system was more advanced, more flexible, and designed to counter exactly the warfare Spartans excelled at. So who would actually win? In a straight military engagement, history gives us the answer. The Roman legion defeats the Spartan phalanx. Superior tactics, better weapon design, and a more versatile system make the difference. But here's what that misses. The Spartan wasn't built to fight Romans. He was built to dominate Greek warfare. The Roman wasn't built to fight Spartans. He was built to conquer the entire Mediterranean, adapting to every enemy. The real lesson isn't who wins a duel, it's that Rome learned from everyone they fought. They saw the phalanx's weaknesses and built a system to exploit them. That's what made Rome unstoppable. Both the Spartan and the Roman represent the peak of their military eras. Both were forged through brutal training and discipline, and both eventually fell to the same thing: changing warfare. If you want to know how the Roman legion actually conquered the ancient world, check out our next video, because the truth is always more interesting than the myth.